This is episode 3 of TrouperCast, your one-stop shop on all things education and the arts. I am Jeremy Solomon, and with me today is Swathi P Chako. Swati has been fortunate to work in a field she's been passionate about from a very young age. She's glad God has allowed her to use her talents not just to teach but to counsel and guide her students as well. Since last year, as the pandemic hit, she has now started her own YouTube channel through which she has been able to reach out and teach her students. Apart from teaching, she enjoys cooking, cycling, and reading books. Join us as we discuss teaching and learning pre and post pandemic, understanding online education, and creating educational content for YouTube. Hey Swati, what's up? How's life?
Hi Jeremy, it's so nice to be here. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. And before we go further ahead, I just want to take this time to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out to be on TrouperCast, to be on this podcast, and I'm looking forward to having an amazing conversation with you.
Sure, it's definitely my pleasure. It's my first of this kind experience, and that too it's with you. So I'm nervous plus also excited.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We're going to have an amazing time together. We're just going to have a fun conversation, and hopefully we'll be able to take snippets out of this conversation, and it would be beneficial for different people listening to it.
Yeah.
But as you may have known from looking at the previous podcast, I'm starting a little tradition at the beginning of these interviews wherein we play a little game.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to open up my whiteboard on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, and once I open up the whiteboard, just a second, it's opening up. Yeah, once I open up the whiteboard, yeah, are you able to see it?
Not yet. Maybe
Okay.
it's coming up.
Should be opening up. So basically what we're going to do is, so it's setting up. While it's setting up, I'll tell you what we're going to do. So are you able to see it now?
Yeah, done. Started.
Yes. So you'll be able to draw along with me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do is we are both going to create a story picture, okay? Because what we do at TrouperCast revolves a lot around telling stories to each other, acting, performance. So we're going to create a story picture, and what you and I are going to do is together we are going to put 10 elements. Okay, 10 elements in this picture. You will put 5 and I will put 5. So we'll go one after the other. So I will add one element, and then you will add the second element, I will add the third element, and we'll do like that. And just before adding it, we need to say why we are adding it to this picture so that it will enhance the story.
Okay, cool.
Okay, makes sense. So because you are the guest over here, I'm going to give you the honor of going first.
Okay.
So you can draw it wherever you want, whatever colors, anything.
Okay, I'm not able to use those.
Okay, maybe you can use the annotate tool directly from Zoom. Are you able to do that?
I haven't used Zoom.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. Okay, here's what we do. Since we're unable to do that, I will draw it for the both of us to the best of my ability.
Okay.
And then maybe later on we can edit this part out to put it in on the podcast. Yeah.
Okay, done.
Okay, cool. So can you see okay, let me just draw something over here and tell me if you can see it. Can you see that?
Yes, I can clearly.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so why don't you tell me what would you like to put up where first?
Okay, to your left corner put a tree.
Okay, here?
Yeah.
Okay, draw a tree over there. Okay. And then I am going to draw a sun over here. Okay, it's not the best sun, but it's what we have to work with. What else would you like to add?
Birds
Birds, where?
around the tree or sun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Next to the tree?
Yeah.
Okay. Why would you want to add birds?
To show there's life, not just, like
Okay.
us, but the other living beings or organisms.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to change the color now. So I've taken green and I'm going to add some grass at the bottom. And I'm adding grass to show prosperity in this place.
Cool.
So what would you like to add next? And if you want to change the color, you can do that too.
You can do it in red, a house to stay in.
A house, okay. Okay, let's do a house. I'm putting it right in the middle here.
Okay.
Okay, why is there a house?
Reside just, I would say maybe a resort kind, and there's a homestay.
Okay.
It's everything
Okay,
is a
awesome.
resort, and there's a homestay, and
Okay.
maybe there are 3 friends staying, so you can just draw 3 people or just lines like that.
Okay, okay. So let's just put 3 lines over here to show 3 people.
3
1,
people.
2, 3. Maybe we can give them little 3 people here. Why are there 3 people here, Swati?
It just reminds me of my youth camp. So we're 3 girls that time, the rest were boys. So we are staying in one home or one room. So I just kind of reminded me of that.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And I'm going to add some windows in this house. Just one window over here. Maybe I'll add another window over here, a smaller one, because 2 windows are always nice. And I think it's nice to add windows because of air circulation, I guess.
Definitely.
All right. Anything else you want to add to this?
Maybe a swing near the tree. A swing.
A swing on the tree. Do you want to make that a color?
Yeah, orange. Yeah, go for orange.
Orange. Okay, orange. So let's just make the swing hang out from here.
Yeah.
The swing is here. Okay, cool. There's a swing here. Why is there a swing there?
To just chill, play around with friends or with whom I've come out with.
Okay.
Reminds us of childhood.
Okay, that's nice. Reminds you of childhood. I am gonna add some clouds on top. Just one cloud to show that. Just to make this entire picture a little more complete, I'll add a cloud up there. And yeah, so to make this picture a little more complete. Do you want to add anything else, Swati?
I think pretty much that completes.
Yeah, that completes the entire thing. We have a few more turns, but I think we don't have to take that right now. So yeah, this is pretty good. So we have a little story over here with 3 people, and let's take this one level up before we go ahead. What would you name these 3 people?
3 stars.
The 3 stars. And what do they do every day? What do they like doing the best?
Doing best is play. Play any kind of games, indoor, outdoor, just games. Because as I told, it's like a resort. So you're coming there to just chill and just relax.
Right.
So that's it.
Right. Okay. And what are they doing right now?
Enjoying the sunset, maybe.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Great. Awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a screenshot of this.
Okay.
So that I have it saved over here. And yeah, so we just built a little story on what these 3 people are doing. And thank you so much for that, Swati.
Yeah, done.
Yeah,
it was
I'm
good.
going to stop sharing as well. Yeah, cool. So here we are at the point where I am going to ask you a little bit about yourself. And generally when you go to school and teachers say, can you tell me about your hobbies? Can you tell me what you like and different things like that? People generally say, I like drawing, I like coloring, I like sketching and stuff like that. And all that is well and good. And some people have bigger hobbies now that we're all adults and not in school anymore. But I want to ask you, if you can tell me maybe 2 or 3 things that is completely unique to you, and if I go on any social platform, if I go anywhere, I won't be able to find it.
Oh, well, that's a big question though. So as you know that I've started a YouTube channel, so that's become my new hobby. If you had say prior lockdown, all this, the concept of YouTube or YouTubing, videoing or recording, all this was like, very new to me or not known to me basically.
Swati, I'm so sorry. Just a minute. I think I forgot to start recording on my phone.
Oh,
I think I'm so sorry.
no problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. It was recording, but I just put it on airplane mode. I think that's what I forgot to do.
Okay.
So I'm so sorry about that.
That's
Swati.
fine. That's fine.
So yeah, let me just take that question again. Yeah.
Yeah, done.
Yeah. So tell me about 2 or 3 things that is completely unique to you.
Yeah, so as you know that I've started a channel, YouTube channel. So that's the new thing that's running on my mind in terms of education. To post videos or educational things. So YouTubing or vlogging is my new thing on my mind. Apart from that, I've just maybe would want to start even more further for other classes to record and post. So that's just the new thing. I'm not that social media person or that creative as at least you are. So mine is a little bit lesser adventures or lesser creative things. But yeah, I'll focus one at a time and make my best at it.
Okay. Would you like to say anything else that you'd want for us or the listeners to hear about you?
Oh, not really.
Okay, no worries, no worries. When we were doing this little drawing a little earlier, what happened was you told me about the 3 girls at camp. And that takes me back as well, because for the longest time, you and I have been going for different camps as part of our church youth group. And camping is not the only thing that we've been doing. We've been going for camps. We have had different plays during the Christmas season. We've had retreats where we've also done some small plays over there. I just want to talk to you about a little bit about those times, because I've thoroughly enjoyed those times. And now that we've all locked up at home and unable to go out and do different things, I just want to go back and reminisce a little about those times, Swati.
Oh, that was the most favorite part of my time, at least in the youth. Every year camping, deciding the place, and of course, I think 90% we have been to one place, Quiet Corner in Ooty. That was the most special place for me. As I was like drawing, what just reminded me was that beautiful place and the fun we had and the games, the friendship and the bonding that we built. And it was just like heaven on earth, that 7 days of a camp, or I would say a week. Like, thankfully, there's no internet, there's nothing over there, so they're just people for each other. So that makes more the camping, the entire experience so wonderful, and the bonding that we share, everything is just comes out so beautiful post camp. So that was one of the experience that I still cherish, and it's still so fresh in my mind. So when we were drawing on that screen, it took me back just for a second, for a few seconds. It took me back to camp where me, Joan, and Shaila, right? We were called 3 stars by sir. So we had such an awesome time that I would really cherish to go back.
Right. Yes, that is a lot of fun. Even I remember a lot of those camps. In fact, I've been attending these camps, even though it's a youth camp. I've been attending these camps since I was a little baby.
Yeah.
Both my sister and I, who is Joan, whom you spoke about. But I want to go back to my childhood as well, back in Sunday school, because you and I attended Sunday school together as well.
True.
And one of the things that I remember very clearly back in Sunday school was during that play that we did, the Fumbly Bumbly Angels.
Yeah.
And yes, you remember that. And there was always this one part, and I still don't know why you used to do this, where I had a line where I had to come up to you and ask if you watched an angel, if you've seen an angel that was lost. And my line was, have you seen this angel? And this angel is, yay, hi. and you would just burst out laughing, and I never really knew why, but I just kept doing it that way because you would end up laughing. And it's just a very different thing when you look back and try and remember those things, don't you think so?
Definitely, definitely. It's such a fun time because we share even more longer bond because from Sunday school, that is, as you said, just mentioned, from childhood, right? We have grown up together in church and, Sunday school, doing games or Sunday school, messages, or especially the plays, right? Wonderful, wonderful. I really, right, especially you. Actually, after moving on to the youth, you took over the entire youth play, right? You started directing each one of us. So that was so much of seeing you grow from we playing small, small characters in Sunday school to you directing each one of our youth. So that was really happy to see you grow. And yes, all those memories can never be forgotten though.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Swati. It's so nice of you to say that too. And yes, we hope to grow a lot more in our journey together as in our own separate work and different things like that. But since we spoke a little bit about us being children and doing different things as kids, there's also a very interesting conversation I've been having with different people. And that is, on one side, being children in a school, and on the other side, transitioning from a student or from a child into a teacher. And I want to talk to you about your journey on transitioning from a student to teacher, Swati. So if you can tell us a little bit about that, that will be amazing to hear.
Yeah, my whole family would know that from childhood, I've always dreamt of becoming a teacher. If you can see me back in my childhood, maybe even at 7 or 10 years old, I would just sit near the staircase and keep hitting the staircase and all of that. So that kind of was always in me, what I would say, the teaching spirit, like I want to be a teacher. And it was just like a dream probably, but I never really took it up seriously, maybe until I was the final year of BCom. So then I started just realizing that, what's next? I have come to the end of BCom final year. So what's next? What do I need to do in the future? So presentations came up as a part of the BCom thing, BCom course. So that's where I realized that I really had the passion for teaching, but I had no, courage. I had passion, but no courage. I was really scared to face. I'm a very shy person. I know now I can't say that, but back then in BCom PUC, I was a very shy. I would like really be nervous to face a crowd of maybe 5 people at least. So over that time, thank God that I moved on to MCom Christ. So there, that passion started. The college trained me well and has given me the platform to go live. They had teaching hour sessions and all of that that really trained me up and gave me that courage to go ahead and address a class gathering. And what's more challenging is I'm teaching degree, which means to say that they're 18, 19, 20. This age group is the most, I would say, the fluctuating, their emotions, their behavior, their attitude, everything is up and down. It's good on one day, it's bad on the other day. So more than teaching, for me, it was like grooming them up. So that's how teaching evolved for me. And I really started loving it. I had more concern for their, character growth. And then comes teaching for me. That's when I understood, when I got my first job, my first class that I go, I had well prepared with the content and I entered my class. It was such a chaos that I couldn't handle the crowd. I mean, there was just 60, 65. I couldn't handle the crowd. That's when I realized it's not about the content. It's about how do you attract people. People can be of little children, youth, or older people. How can you get those attention of young minds? That was the real challenge for me. And God's grace, I'm able to pick that up and going good, really going good. And I really enjoy teaching. I feel that spirit is within me, is what I've realized thus far, at least with 4 years plus experience. So I really enjoy teaching. So the transition has been challenging, very challenging, but it's a satisfaction. You don't get that satisfaction, I don't know, from any other job. But as a teacher, right, you too would experience that when you teach a child anything. It can be a game, play, skit, or a concept. It's just so amazing, that satisfaction that you receive.
Right, you're absolutely right. And I have lesser experience than you in terms of teaching degree students, because I work a lot with even K1, K2, pre-primary, all the way up to high school, and maybe even 11th and 12th. And I think I've done maybe only one or two projects with degree students. But even in working with them very little bit, one is definitely a lot of fun. You're able to understand something, you're able to look at the whole concept of teaching from a different perspective when you're working with older children and degree students, not just older children. And I think it's really nice when I heard you say that even though you're very prepared with your content and everything, that's just one part of it, that's just half of it.
True.
Yes, and you need to go there to be able to connect with the individual in a class of 60. And I think that is a challenge that you have taken head on, and you're able to do that quite well from what I understand too, yeah?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, yes. And I've heard a lot of people say that once a teacher, always a teacher, and you've always shown interest in wanting to get into this profession of teaching. And even now, inside the classroom, yes, you would take on the role of a teacher, but then it becomes habitual even outside the classroom. I think we were talking about this last time as well, to do this to different people, right?
Yeah.
And I also, from there, want to transition into talking a little about teaching pre-pandemic and post-pandemic on an online platform and on an offline platform. So what are your thoughts on that as a degree professor?
Yeah, pandemic in general has definitely shaken all of us, whether it can be with our profession, personal lives, physically, mentally. But education terms, yes, the transition from pre to post has definitely been challenging, because we as teachers, at least since we have started our journeys, have never faced camera, at least on a professional level. We have never faced camera, to sit in a particular way and talk. And, talking, addressing a class is different, and just talking, just sitting in your room silently and addressing a laptop is different. So that was really challenging. But pre-pandemic, yes, things were going smoothly. But I would say pre and post have its own pros and cons, definitely. Pre-pandemic, it was all smooth because everything was offline. I would say the disadvantages would be a little bit that the teaching methods or the students' way of learning, everything was set in a particular standard, like in older kind of traditional methods. It was just going on that way. So unless and until this pandemic hit us, we started thinking out of the box. But otherwise, we would still sail in the same boat, the same methods. Although it is good, we could be much better. We could do much better as an institution or individual teacher, as you and me. We could do better. So post pandemic, when this hit, we started thinking outside the box, because we are all locked up, and we can't give up on our professions or our cash and flow. So we had to do something. And as I just told you, we haven't faced the camera at all. So that was very challenging for me. I think my first online class, once again coming back, my first online class, I was so nervous. I mean, everybody's logged in, but there's no face interaction in online class, at least for degree. I think for kindergarten, maybe they make sure the video is on, correct? But here it's not like that, because it's just online. So I began to talk as if I'm in the class, which was not right. So when I just recorded the whole content, I listened it back, listened to it. It was so bad. So then I had to again change my teaching method, right? I need to slow down as I'm talking to you right now. Otherwise, I would be really fast. I had to slow down to make sure the other person is actually following. So post pandemic, yes, it was challenging. But the positive part of it is we learned something new. We started to think outside the box and be teaching methodologies, something that I have learned. All of this started because of pandemic, because we are locked at home. Otherwise, we would be still sticking to the traditional methods. So there are, yes, pros and cons with respect to education. With respect to education.
All right. And with regard to that, you spoke about teaching pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, but I also want to talk to you a little about learning pre-pandemic and post-pandemic from a student's perspective. And now that we are going into a different stage in education, I would say, where people are considering hybrid education, where it's a mix of online and offline because of the success and the efficiency of online education. I want you to talk about a little bit of learning pre and post pandemic and the future of education with regard to online education.
Right. So I told you, as a teacher, as a student, definitely it has hit them very badly. Pre-pandemic, everything was smooth, right? Everything is right in front of your eyes. The books, the notes, the learning, or if you want to ask a doubt, anything, everything was just right there in front of you, right? It was very comfortable for students from student perspective. But moving on to post-pandemic, it became very challenging because, as I told, the most positive thing about pre-pandemic or before this lockdown effect was that physical interaction, all right, or face-to-face contact with the teacher or the student. That itself would give you confidence or make you concentrate better. Now what happened after post-pandemic, everybody has to stuck to their smartphones, and their concentration level is gone, right? And I mean, they're so much distracted because they're sitting at home and learning in the midst of all the noises or the family members distraction, all of that. So the learning span actually came down with children. We can observe that, not just for degree students perspective, you can talk about even the kindergarten where you address little kids, right? That would be so challenging for little kids to sit in front of iPads or computers for an hour or 40 minutes. So the learning span actually started decreasing. Okay. But as you taught about the future of education, now I would say it is the survival of the fittest. Whatever change is introduced, either because of the natural, I would say this was pandemic was a natural force, or I would say something that government has induced upon us. Either ways, change at the beginning is always challenging. But then, if you need to survive in terms of any profession, you need to adapt. As a teacher, how I have adapted to, online teaching, online skills, methodology, same ways, students also must be adaptive. Now we can see the rise of Byju's or, all those professional teaching platforms or websites that we have, right? Where they give one-on-one attention, etc. So the entire method of learning has changed. I would say it has changed for the better, right? Because pre-pandemic, it was just whatever is taught, you would study. But here, because of technology, and you have so many platforms that teach you, give you professional education, you can choose what skill you want to study. It can be basic, like let's say like a tailoring, right? Or editing, right? Video editing. All of this is a skill set that students or any individual can learn at their comfort zone using technology. So learning is not just, put it inside a classroom. It has started outside the classroom. It has begun inside home at the comfort zone. So this will continue forever, the online education, or this will move on. So you cannot say that it is challenging as a student. Yes, sometimes I can't concentrate, I can't follow up, but you need to adapt yourself. Otherwise, there's no other go, right? Because you never know once the next lockdown, what comes next. So as a student, you need to be prepared to face your future by adapting yourself to the various challenges that come your way.
Okay, that's very interesting to hear you say that, because I've always heard different perspectives from different people with a lot of teachers showing a little bit of apprehension towards online teaching for the same fear that people in the medical profession have, because people over there sometimes feel that in surgeries and stuff, a robotic hand might replace a surgeon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
possible.
So do you think that those fears are real in education now with everything moving online? Pre-recorded classes might
Yeah,
give way to online actual physical classes, or even one-on-one classes or group classes not happening. What's your perspective on that?
That's true. Once, as I told, the future will continue with online education. There can be possibilities that, with the pre-recorded videos but I feel in India, it would take much longer time for us to adapt to that level of, high level of technology. But yeah, I don't know. We should be prepared for it. That's all is my perspective, because I can't go out there and change the entire education system. But as I just told, we need to adapt, and it is something that is costing us, our talent or our skills. I think we need to adapt. I don't know. It's going to be scary though, robotics teaching or, completely moving online. But I don't know how that be. But the little hope is that we will not reach there too early. So that way, we are in a safe zone for now at least. But yeah, when it comes up into future, we need to consider that on a serious note.
Right. I asked this question because of what you do basically, right? Because you make pre-recorded videos and you put it up on your YouTube channel. And I do want to talk to you a little bit about your YouTube channel, the process of doing that, the inspiration of doing that, and we will get to that. But before we get there, I actually have a couple of questions that I want to ask you in the form of rapid fire. So are you ready for this, Swati?
Yes, done. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll ask this, you try to answer as quickly as possible. And if you feel that you do want to think about it or you want to talk a little bit more about that, you can do that. So whatever question I ask, it's always going to be and why.
Sorry.
Okay, whatever question I ask, it's always going to be, I'll ask the question and why.
And why? Okay.
Why
Okay.
and why. Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Okay, are we ready to go?
Yes, done.
Okay. Who is your inspiration and why?
For my YouTube channel, you're asking?
No, in general, for yourself.
For myself, inspiration, I would say maybe my teachers they have taught me, right? And the very reason that I chose teaching or this profession is that it has a fixed work time period, right? There's a school and there's a college fixed time period, and as a woman, I need to balance family and profession. So that's the only reason. That's the only profession that gives you a balanced time to manage your personal life as well as your professional life. So the inspiration would be my teachers.
All right. Summer or winter and why?
Summer or winter, maybe summer. Summer because it's summer holidays, and yeah, we can go to camp and a lot of other places, relatives' home, resorts, or camping. So we'll have, let's say, Bible school. There are a lot of more things that you can do in summer because it's a vacation.
Okay, thank you for that. How do you start your day and why?
I start my day with prayer, in order to say that all that we have, all that I am alive is because of God's grace. So I would start my day by giving thanks. As you see all this news and everything, there's no guarantee of, life next second. So the moment I wake up, honestly, is that I make sure that, yes, I'm alive. And to show that it's not by me, it is by God's grace. He's sustaining me every day. So I start my day with, being thankful for God for giving me another new day. And then it starts over the daily activities and work, so on.
Okay, thank you for saying that, Swati, because I think sometimes We get so carried away by so many things that are happening around us, by the news, by our work and different things, that we forget the more important things. And at the same time, this can be a more simpler thing in life as well. And even though it can be really simple to just have a prayer or just have a conversation, we tend to just put it to the side. So thank you for saying that is how you start your day and the importance of that. So the next question is, in which subject were you the worst at school and why?
School worst, maybe maths. Definitely maths. I think I've scored the least in maths. That's why.
Okay. Okay, why do you think math is just the whole addition subtraction? I find it really interesting now that you're teaching accounts and everything.
Yeah,
But still.
accounts is different and maths is different. Accounts is dealing with money though. Maths is just find x, find y, what is equals to right hand side equals to left hand side, and so on. Somewhat it didn't maybe find my interest much. That's all. Maybe if I can put interest, maybe I can develop. But right now, I would say that was the most less scoring subject in my school days.
All right, thank you. In which subject were you the best at school?
At school, maybe what exactly I would say. I was good at all these science or arts, right? Something with good to go with diagrams, right? Drawing, arts. I was really good at that.
Okay. What advice would you give your younger self?
My younger self, okay, that's a good question though. I would say, firstly, don't get too busy in life. Calm down, relax, take one decision at a time, focus on one thing at a time, because the world around you is always at race, pursuing after something or the other, trying to make more money or trying to get more fame, etc. So that's not what you are not called for, right? So find out what is God's will for your life. Slow down. You don't have to be like the world or be like the people around you. Just stay calm, take your decision very wisely, because I would say at the younger days, if my decision in terms of spiritual life would be more better with respect to the relationship with God, I would say it would be much more beautiful. I am enjoying my today's life, but it would be much more meaningful if my younger days decisions would be more wiser.
All right, thank you for that. What scares you the most and why?
Scares me maybe being too adventurous. I am more of a indoor person. So anything with respect to adventure or heights, depth, all that adventure. You have seen me in camp, right? I really get scared of the smallest sound. I'm like a scaredy cat like that. So adventurous is like too scared. I'll run away.
Okay. Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay. What is success for you?
Is doing the best you can without expecting results.
Okay.
So from your
Chocolate or
perspective,
vanilla? I'm sorry, continue.
so from your perspective, you're given your best. So that is success for me. I've given my best. The result will come in its own time.
Okay. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
If you could be any animal, what would it be?
Any animal. Butterfly.
Why?
Because it's free, it's colorful. All of them love butterflies. I'm sure there's nobody who says, oh, it's butterfly. Nothing like that. Even a small child will love a butterfly. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the last question for this is, what would you change about yourself?
Change about myself. There are lots of things to change about myself. One thing is maybe being a teacher at home. I would want to change that because it's so much into me that I become teacher everywhere. So I have to remind myself, Swati, you're only teacher inside the classroom. Outside, you are not a teacher to anybody, so just stay quiet. I need to calm myself every time.
All right, and I think that's a perfect way to jump into what you do otherwise, because yes, you're a teacher just at home, or yes, you're a teacher in the classroom only, but having made YouTube videos on the subject matter that you teach, right now you're a teacher on a massive public platform that hundreds of people are watching right now. So I want to talk to you about that, because we spoke a little bit about teaching on apps like Zoom or Teams. We spoke a little bit about companies like Byju's and things like that who are doing different courses and things like that. But I want to talk to you about choosing YouTube as a platform. So what was it like going from the classroom to maybe doing sessions on Teams or Zoom, directly interacting with the students, and then jumping into a platform like YouTube?
Okay. So when you're talking about every time somebody's asking me about my YouTube channel, the first person, the credit has to go to my husband. So the entire idea of recording, posting and creating a channel of content, of educational content, all the credit goes to my husband. It was never my idea. He's of more into technical part. So all the success, or the channel that is growing, and in everything that's technical part, apart from the content that's put in, the credit goes 100% to him, because it was his idea. As the lockdown started, when the college was putting the pressure of you need to continue teaching from home, I'm like, how do I teach from home? Online teaching, I'm like, I've never faced camera, or I've never, how do I teach without students? That was my first question, right? How do I just sit and talk in a room, or sit and talk to a laptop? How different that would be, or how strange that would be. So, and then my husband came up with this idea of recording the videos, or making PowerPoint presentations for theory subjects, and for practicals he bought a board and set it up, and he told you, teach, I'm going to record and post it. The purpose of posting or creating a channel, his idea was, my college, many students were not able to log in during the class timings. Say, let's say it's 8 o'clock login, they were not able to log in. All of them, due to pandemic, moved into villages, or they were not able to even have sufficient money to even recharge their phones. So that really hit him, and he says, let's make it available to everyone. So not only will your college students watch it, but other people also can watch it. So this journey started from then, and having, as I told, just giving my best, not waiting for any results, or waiting for any response from anybody. To my surprise, it really started growing. And of course, promotion was done on from his side and my side, with all the available social medias or apps or friends, relatives, etc. But beyond all that, the content was reaching people in need. I mean, people in the sense, the student community. It really started helping them. And as I told, even though there are competitors, or even there are so many platforms given, people will still come back to you, or to your content, if you're able to attract them, right? Be it, I would say, the first thing that if you want, the students watch your video, or make your video to be showcased as in the search results, the time period. I can't talk for 1 hour, but nobody's going to watch a 1 hour video on a simple basic content, correct? They can just Google it and sort down the points, or sort down the points. So I had to focus on made sure the content is less than 20 minutes. Because I understand, because every time I was recording or posting, I started thinking from a perspective of a student. If I were a student, how would my concentration be for a YouTube video? Because YouTube, for you and me, or for everybody else, the first to go is for entertainment, right? So how do I shift that focus, right? How do I keep that interest going? So when I started with PowerPoint presentations, I must say I was so bad at it. And my husband just had a look at it. the PPTs, and he told, students are going to fall flat. I mean, they're going to sleep looking at your PPTs. It's so boring. And when he said that, I really was disappointed though at the beginning, but then I really gave it a thought, right? Okay, from my perspective, I just made a PPT for the YouTube channel, but from a learner point of view, from a student point of view, it actually did make a difference. It really did look boring. So I started working on my skills and made it more interesting. If you would see from my first video to what I've posted the recent one, there's a drastic change that you can see. And this YouTube platform, why I have chosen is because everybody has access to it, correct? It can be a student, it can be a KG child, or to a degree. It does not fit into a perfect age group. It's open to all. And learning does not have to be only a degree student. You can learn at any age, men, women, anybody. So that was the reason for starting the YouTube channel and the story behind that.
All right, thank you for that. One thing I wanted to ask you based on what you told me was, eventually things will have to open up. We will not be teaching from home anymore. We will not be learning on these platforms anymore. Once we move back into the classroom as teachers, what is your plan for your YouTube channel? Do you plan on continuing putting up content? Do you plan on taking a break? What do you have in mind for anyone who's interested to know?
I will continue. So since I've started it, I would want to give my 100% to it. So what I started is putting one complete syllabus of the entire subject on the YouTube. So I will continue to do that. Right now it's offline, but still, whenever I'm getting, at least at the weekend, maybe I post 2 videos in a week or 3 videos in a week, depending upon my comfort zone. But I will continue to keep the channel. Post videos on my channel.
All right. And I remember last time we were talking a little bit about the process, and even that time I asked you like, hey, how do we do that? How do we put it together? And you're like, my husband does everything. So when I was talking to Dennis, who is Swati's lovely husband and a good friend of mine as well, he was telling me that instead of just saying this is what we do and that is what we do, he said he'll put together a small video for us to watch. So let's watch this video now to understand a little more about how Swati and Dennis puts this entire process and YouTube channel video together. Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
So can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yes, so I'm just going to play it. Right. So I saw a lot of interesting things in that video. One of the things was Dennis building the frame to put the green screen on, the editing of the video as well. And I know if I'm going to ask you that, you're going to say that is not in my department.
Yes,
that is in the husband's department, definitely. So maybe sometime soon we should get Dennis on the podcast as well to talk a little about this entire process, because I know he does a lot of other things as well that's very interesting. So it would be nice to have a conversation with regard to that. You wanted to say something?
Yes, definitely I do.
Yeah, okay. And from there, I want to ask, You put up YouTube videos and you take classes as well. How has the response been to your YouTube videos?
YouTube videos, as I told, to my surprise, it's been really great. I was really surprised to see that, apart from my class children or my class students watching, there was, I would say, just maybe just 20% on 100 scale of 100 were my own college students. Apart from that, there were the others, that is outside my college, maybe the student community of different colleges, people from, I don't know from which places. If you can observe certain comments that you have seen, the kind of commentary they put in, the little English words to say even thank you may not actually be the right English. So I would understand they're coming from a very rural background, I believe, but still my content is able to reach out to them. That really makes me happy. I'm like, I would like to make things very simple and clear that even a layman would understand that. Otherwise, there's no point in teaching. Even the complex must be able to break it down and communicate it. It's just not me talking and you listening. You must be able to respond to it or understand what I'm trying to tell, correct? So that response really motivated me. It encouraged me to continue the work. So because in lockdown, we just started, as I told, because my students were not able to log in, internet issues, village and all that. But to my surprise, it's really started growing, as I think the video zoomed into showing the number of subscribers over there. That is tremendously grown, right? Maybe it's a year maybe that we started. Now, right now, I think it's maybe 685 probably. It's definitely growing. And students are being helped. And that's what I call it success, right? My efforts are being, helping somebody out there in need, especially for exams, or they've asked me to post their notes, post question papers. I have done that. And seeing them, responding gives me so much of joy. And I forget about all the effort or all the technical difficulty that I had to learn. It's just gone in a moment when I see them, responding that way.
That is amazing to hear, and it's always nice to listen into people putting in the hard work and getting the results for that hard work. And it's nice to see people grow that way as well. And I actually want to go back to the very beginning of the interview, where you said when you went into the classroom for the first time, you had all the content ready, but once you enter the classroom, you realize that a different approach needs to be taken. And I like how you've taken that and adapted it to making these YouTube videos, because I'm sure you have the content and the knowledge of this, but then you need to understand how the platform works. You need to understand how your viewers are going to respond, who your audience is, and things like that. And with regard to that, a lot of people today, whether it is kids, now you and I even know a few very, very young kids, maybe 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, who are starting YouTube channels, who have an online presence. You have teachers who are considering doing this, like what you're doing, and even maybe older teachers who may want to do this, but are a little apprehensive because they do not understand the technology very well and things like that. What advice would you give people who are specifically thinking about going into YouTube? Forget the technical aspects of those things; they can understand and realize and try and learn more about it. But with regard to a presence on screen, maybe more so for teachers, what would you tell them if they're considering making content for YouTube?
I would say that would be a great idea, because when I started off, it was, not for the purpose of making it big or great, but it turned out to be great. For any other teacher out there who is having, content or a skill, it can be anything. It's not definitely to be teaching. You can teach music, or you can teach. I know there are many hundred and thousands of people who are already doing that, but there's something unique about each one of us, and that uniqueness only you can do it. There's nobody else who can copy it. Yes, maybe the content might be similar, but the way you put it out will definitely make a difference. And you never know, that channel might grow up and might inspire younger minds or older minds. It might inspire people on the other side of the channel. So I would say anybody who is looking forward for opening up a channel or starting a channel, just go for it. right? You never know how the response would be, and ups and downs, there's always learning for us. Nothing is perfect, nobody is perfect, but as I told, something is unique about each one of us. So even though the content, the presentation would definitely matter. So if there's an idea of starting, please go ahead and do it. It would definitely inspire or be beneficial to somebody out there.
All right, thank you for that. And now I want to give you a few moments to plug what you're doing. So if you can just tell us what is your YouTube channel, where we can find it, how we can reach it, what you do on there, what you teach, and who it's going to be beneficial to, that will be great, Swati.
Okay, so my channel name is Swathi P Chako. Okay, my full name. And the content that's on my channel is completely for degree, right? Even PUC or PUC degree students can watch it, or PUC students also it will be beneficial, or people who are aiming for CA, like the competitive exams, CA, CS, CIMA, all those, because all those competitive entrance exams begins with the basics of degree. Okay, so even the masters and all of that, MBA entrance, all of that. So those basics you can still find it, or you can find it on my channel. So I would say who can be benefited is student community, maybe about 10th, right? Anybody about 10th can be benefited, because I'm covering all the basic concepts. So that way basics are not going to change, right? The root level or the foundation will remain forever. Above that, there can be changes with syllabus and all the other things, but the basics will remain same. So you can find my channel on Swathi P Chako as the channel name, and the content is degree, and the subjects that I teach are commerce and management. Okay, so all the subjects that come under BCom, all the subjects that come under BBA will be covered. Right now, maybe there are 4 to 5 subjects. 3 are completed. The rest are in process. I mean, the semester is not completed yet. So as in then, every semester, maybe 3 to 4 subjects with full syllabus will be on my channel. So that will be the content.
All right, and for those of you all who would still like to go and listen to it and watch the channel and watch the videos and are unable to, I will link the channel in the description. You can listen in wherever, whether you're listening on Spotify or watching to this interview on YouTube. You can find Swati's channel link in the description, and you can go check it out. And Swati, we have come to the end of this conversation, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And till now, whatever Troupersphere and whatever I've been doing is related to theater and music and performance and drama in education and things like that. And I think this is one of the very few times we're having somebody on our platform talking about something outside of that with regard to accounts or things like that. But I really liked how you spoke about this, because on one end you have YouTube, which is a platform which is majorly entertainment and education. There's educational content on there as well, but for the most of it, people use it as a view it as a channel for entertainment. And you have very successfully taken a subject like accounts, taken that platform like YouTube, and very successfully merged it together. So it's very, very nice to listen to that and listen to your journey and listen to where you have come from pre-pandemic and where you are now. And on that note, I would like to end this conversation with you giving a message to parents and a message to students. It can be a general message based on your views and ideas. It could be something with regard to what you're doing, or it could be something that we have discussed from this conversation earlier as well. So over to you, Swati.
Okay, so coming to the message, parents in general, I would say, especially those under the KG class, maybe the younger standard kids, yes, the education is moving online. We do not know the sooner when the school will start for the little kids because of the danger out. So yes, there's learning. I would say parents to involve no screen time learning. I mean, apart from technology also, there's so many things that can be taught to children of every age. It's not just a KG class, right? Like you and me as youngsters, as degree, there's so much. Without involving technology, there's so much learning. With comes the technology, learning, all of that. There are also drawbacks. Your vision time, your concentration, your eyesight might, day by day, it might get affected. There are negative effects, correct? So because everything is so bombarded to the student community from last 1 year, suddenly you really need to take a step back and, reduce your screen time for parents and students, right? From both perspective, I'm talking. To reduce the screen time. Yes, there's learning. Yes, there's technology that is helping us, but we need to watch out, not be addict, right? It can be gaming, it can be for studying, not be an addict. And yes, there is a future for YouTube. There is a profession that you can start if it's skillful and it's more unique. And then definitely go for it. If it's parents, students, or any person of the age group can start a channel with their skills or uniqueness. And any other thing that I would like to add on is, as a final thing, I really enjoyed this entire process, entire experience. As I told beginning, I was nervous, but now I'm really relaxed because it was so much of informal conversation between you and me, and that I know you, like we know each other so well. Church or youth or Sunday school, all of that clubbed together. Maybe that past, bond that we share made this interview or this experience more peaceful and smoothly. So I'd like to thank you, Jeremy, for giving this platform or opportunity for me. It's a first one, but it was a beautiful one with you. Thank you for that game initially that, set that mood or set that tone down for the level for me to converse with you. And I definitely, as much as you have wished me, I really wish you in whatever skills that uniqueness that you have in drama, art, that's something that's unique about you. The way you do, nobody else can copy that. Others can do drama, but you are unique in the way you present yourself. And definitely when you conduct a session for us in church or in youth, we definitely are into it. We are not like, our physical presence is there, but our minds are elsewhere. No, you get that attention from us. And that's what I really appreciate about you. And I also thoroughly wish you with the bottom of my heart that you excel in whatever you are good at and that you would continue to grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swati. That means a lot. And I have taken it to heart, all the nice things that you have said. And I do appreciate it. And I also want to thank you for being on this conversation, having this interaction with you. Personally, I have learned a lot because most of the people that I talk with, like I've spoke with before, is purely into the arts. But talking to someone who is into different streams gives different perspectives and different understanding and also a different appreciation to different things. So thank you for that, and I also wish you all the best with your teaching profession, with your YouTube channel and everything else that you're doing. So once again, Swati, thank you so much for being on board, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. We'll see you around soon.
Definitely. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from TrouperSphere and TrouperCast, you can follow us on Instagram. The handle is @TrouperSphere. And make sure to check out this video when it's out on YouTube. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.